his knuckles against his chattering teeth. She was an inch away from his face, speaking under her breath. "If you become hysterical, Martin, I'm going to slap you. Now stop it." "Madame," a voice said behind her. She turned to see a tall middle-aged policeman with a blaze of gold braid curling across the visor of his cap. He stepped toward her and flipped open a leather notebook. "May I have your name, please?" The woman clutched the collar of her mink and blinked up at the policeman. "I beg your pardon," she said. "May I see some form of identification?" He licked the stub of a pencil and held it over the pad. "Identification?" the woman exclaimed in indignation. Over the policeman's shoulder, she saw a familiar face approaching. "Ah, Captain Dussault, thank goodness you're here." An officer of higher rank than her inquisitor stepped forward. "I'll handle this," he said brusquely to the younger officer. "This is Madame Cleo. She does not need to be interrogated. Go see to the gentleman there." The policeman's face froze, his mouth going slack. Then he nodded and turned toward the still shaking blond man. The captain slipped his hand protectively under Madame Cleo's elbow. He guided her around the demolished car. "My dear Cleo," he said, lowering his voice respectfully, "it is wonderful to see you again, although I wish our reunion were under more happy circumstances. Please, don't worry about your driver. He's going to be all right. It's a clean wound. I am concerned about you." "I'm fine," she said with a weak smile. "A little shaken, perhaps. It was all so sudden." "Do you have any idea who would do such a thing?" Madame Cleo slowly shook her head. "Any one of thousands, my dear Captain. I have many enemies, especially now, and many friends, myself included." As he spoke, he gently picked bits of glass from her hair and clothes. Another officer handed her the mink beret he had found on the floor of her car. "Merci," she said with a little nod. "Who were those men? Did you catch them?" she asked, turning back to the captain. "They ran into the crowd after their car crashed, madame, but do not fear, we'll get them. Rest assured, there will be a thorough investigation. My men will go over every inch of the attacker's car." Cleo glanced down the street at the shooter's smashed car. The van that struck it had been pushed up onto the curb and sidewalk. "What should I do, Captain? Am I free to go home?" "Of course, I will take you myself," he said. "Give me a moment to speak to my men. The lieutenant there will escort you to my car." "Thank you," she said, turning to her assistant, who had stopped whimpering, although he was still dazed. "Come, Martin, the captain will take us home." As they walked to the police car, they passed the wreckage of her car. The hood was grotesquely folded back, and the fenders swung loose. An arc of bullet holes creased the roof. The tires were flat, and a stream of gasoline coursed down the back fender. Just before Madame Cleo and Martin climbed into the back seat of the police car, she looked back to see Captain Dussault trotting toward them. He put his hand on Madame Cleo's arm to stop her. "My men just found this in the street," he said, dropping a clear plastic bag that held something made of metal into her hand. "Does this mean anything to you?" She opened her hand and looked down. In the bag was a gold cigarette lighter, upon which had been engraved an elaborate crest. She recognized it immediately. "I have one like this. There are only a few of these in existence. They're from Cartiers, made for a friend of mine." "How can you be sure this isn't yours?" the captain asked, lifting it carefully from her hand. "I am absolutely positive," she said firmly. She reached into the pocket of her mink and extracted a lighter identical to the one the police captain now held suspended in the evidence bag. "May I speak to you privately?" the captain asked, cutting his eyes at Martin. "One of my men can drive your companion wherever he wants to go." "Of course," she said, turning to her aide. "Martin, I need to chat with this nice man for a bit. I'll see you back at the house." Reluctantly, her assistant nodded, then got into the police car. When he was out of earshot, the captain put a protective arm around Madame Cleo's mink-clad shoulders and walked her slowly toward a grassy plot and away from any curious listeners. "Who wants to kill you, Cleo?" Cleo stopped walking and leaned against the iron guardrail. She shook her head slowly and stared at the ground. "Don't you have any idea?" he asked. "No, Hélène. It's just that I don't even want to think it could be true." "How much more proof do you need than being machine-gunned in broad daylight?" "I don't think this was a case of mistaken identity, my dear. Not in that car." He glanced toward her crumpled citron being hooked onto a police tow truck. Cleo looked out across the broad plaza. "This is what happens when one sells one's soul."